What is happening, everybody? So it's been a little while since I've done the vlogging consistently, but it's one of those things where, like anything with your food, your diet, your nutrition, your exercise, when you get out of the habit of doing it, it's quite hard to get back into it. So when we went away to Jersey, I made a couple of vlogs, you guys have seen those. I made one when I got back about how to get back into exercise after a holiday. But you can hear a dog crying in the background because he goes nuts when I'm talking to the camera, it baffles him. But that kind of broke my consistency. So now I'm hoping that today's one, this is it, back into it, getting consistent with them again. It's like I said, it's like with your nutrition and with your exercise, you just need to force yourself, get yourself back into it one day in, and then the ball will start rolling again. You kind of find your rhythm again. And that's what I'm hoping with these vlogs. So it is currently the school holidays. So Arthur has a ginormous amount of time off school. Weather is amazing at the moment in England. But trying to entertain him for the next 8 weeks, he has 8 weeks off, is going to be tough. So we've got a week's holiday planned, which I'm going to get onto in a minute. But luckily Katie's on maternity, which makes things massively easier for that. Like, I do not know what we would do if we was both at work. The summer holidays would be a complete headache. But they're out and about at the moment. She's taking him out for the day with her mum.
Arthur, go on now.
We have just literally booked a holiday for next month, so we're going away in August. Going to be going to Mallorca. So I decided, you know, I'm not overly obsessive about the way I look. Obviously I'm into exercise and, you know, from a health point of view, and there is some, you know, aesthetic appeal to that, and I do want to, you know, feel good in my own body, but I'm not obsessive about wanting to be super lean and have shredded six-pack, because I realise that stuff is not realistic, especially when you're a parent, and, you know, when other things are more important in your life than having a six-pack. However, I've got 4 weeks until we go away, and I would actually quite like to drop a little bit of body fat, maybe get a little bit leaner. Like I said, I'm not looking to get silly shredded or anything. That doesn't really bother me, but, you know, I'd like to maybe, I'm going to probably be spending 90% of the time in a pair of swimming shorts, so I would like to maybe, you know, lose a bit of body fat and just feel a little bit more tight and in shape. And that being said, if I went on holiday looking like I look now, at the same time I wouldn't really be that bothered. But in my head I'm just like, you know what, I've been needing to kind of tighten a few things up with my nutrition, and this is a good reason to do that. One of the things recently, so over the past sort of like 4, 5, 6 weeks, I've been getting like these, I've been really busy at work, but I get a decent-ish amount of sleep. You know, on a bad night I probably get 5 hours, but that's not consistent. Like on good nights I get 8 hours. So I get a decent amount of sleep, but I've been feeling really like lethargic, and I couldn't really work out why. I went to the doctors the other day about it, and I said to her, I feel like I must be lacking in something. I don't know, like iron or some other nutrient maybe that's just making me feel really lethargic. Like during the day, I feel like the only way I can get through a day is by having a nap. And, you know, I explained to her what I do for a living. I say I eat pretty healthy. She wanted to know if I, you know, over-exercised. And if anything, over the past 6 months, couple of years even, after like everything that we've been through, and that could also be part of it, my training has scaled back. So if I work out in the gym 3 days a week, that's probably the most intense sort of 3 hours a week that I do. Around that I do walking the dog, etc. So it's not like I've run myself into the ground with exercise, because that was one of the things she thought maybe it was. Now I don't know if it's a knock-on effect of, you know, what we've been through the past couple of years with losing Henry and then having another baby, and just like having 2 years of like solid pregnancies and anxiety and not being relaxed, but I don't feel like it was anything to do with that. Anyway, so she said to me that she wouldn't have thought I'd be deficient in anything if, you know, I get a well-rounded diet. It's not normally the case. Anyway, when I came back from there, I kind of started thinking about things, and over the past especially over the past 3 months probably since Maggie's been born, it's been hard to get into a routine. So maybe I haven't been eating as well as maybe I think. I've been conscious of the amount of calories that I'm consuming, but maybe not so conscious about the amount of nutrients that I've been consuming. So I always used to follow a rule of something green with every meal of the day, every main meal of the day. So breakfast, lunch and dinner must have something green with it, as in nutrients. So for breakfast it would be like something that maybe is like scrambled eggs with some spinach in there, or some kale, or it might have been a smoothie with blueberries and raspberries and again spinach in there, so there's a green thing there. Lunchtime might be whatever it is but with a big salad on the side, and then dinner would always be vegetables, even if that meal didn't necessarily go with vegetables. So say if we made a homemade curry, I would always steam broccoli and carrots and just have it on the side, even if that's traditionally not what like people would do. So I was making sure that I was getting all of the nutrients in. And over the past 4 days, I've kind of gone back to that mentality after being at the doctor's, and my energy levels are actually through the roof in comparison to how they were. I haven't felt lethargic over the past couple of days. So I think that it was maybe, I thought I was eating better than I was, but actually when I stood back and took a look, there was a lot of nutrients missing. Yes, I was eating well from being mindful of how many calories I was consuming, but not necessarily being so mindful of where am I getting all these nutrients from. And since I've implemented that, it's made a huge difference. Now, it may not affect, some people, if their diet has never been really nutrient dense, they probably feel a certain way. But coming from someone who's had a good diet with plenty of nutrients, to maybe going through a period of time where you're not giving your body that, but you're still doing a similar amount of exercise, you're still doing a similar amount of working hours, getting the same amount of sleep, then you're going to notice a huge difference. So I think that is where that came from. So today, starting from yesterday, I started on my kind of holiday diet as such. And when I say diet, I've just started tracking in my FitnessPal, increasing the nutrients, like I said, and maybe just being more mindful of what I'm snacking on. So yesterday I had it was around 2,400 calories. And I would say on a day where I'm not being mindful, I easily consume around 3,000 calories. So there's a 5,000 calorie cut there, just from being more mindful and cutting out unnecessary snacks and sort of cutting out sugary snacks and things like that. So that's what I'm going to kind of focus on over the next 4 weeks. I'm going to be doing MyFitnessPal and tracking my calories, because it takes the stress out of it. Now, I think it's very good for people to track for a period of time, but I also think you don't have to be that rigid all year round. So now I know that I'm going on holiday, or if you have a particular thing coming up that you are working towards and want to lose some weight when you're working towards that, then getting very rigid with something like MyFitnessPal or carb cycling or low calorie, or reducing certain things from your diet, maybe cutting out alcohol or cutting out processed foods for that period of time to get you that result for when you go on holiday or you have a wedding or you have this event coming up. It's okay to be incredibly rigid for that period of time and strict to get that result. You're going to get a better result, you're going to get to the result faster. But the majority of the time, I'm a big believer in, I think people think you need to be like that all the time to have the body that you want. When you don't, you're never going to be at the same body weight. So as long as you accept, this is my kind of happy body weight range. When you're going on holiday or you have a reason to be slim, you might be down the sort of lower end of that range where your diet's a lot tighter. But then, outside of that, you're maybe a little bit more relaxed and you may be more near the upper end of the range. If you know you have those kind of ranges, then you're not going to get postman. Ben goes nuts when the postman comes. Okay? he just goes berserk when the postman turns up or anyone turns up at the door. Then you're not going to get down about it if you know that that's your kind of weight range. The rest of the time you want to be focusing more on controlling and changing your habits and all that kind of stuff. And I've spoken about those things before, but I'm not going to go into detail about that today. Maybe we'll talk about that another time. But anyway, so one of the things that I've been wanting to do for ages, and I noticed when I did the 3 peaks, was my mental capacity to push myself is pretty good. My strength is good, but maybe my stamina could be better, and that's something I need to work on. So I wanted to do more cycling and more running around my strength training. So at the moment I'm focusing on 3 workouts a week, every other day, sometimes 4, depending on what's going on and how busy my week is, of strength training. And that's from the Dad Bod program. So I've recently launched that as well. So if you want to check that out, I'll put a link below. Or if you're watching this on Facebook, then the link will be in the description of where to sign up. The Dad Bod, Mum Strong programs are programs that I've developed that you can follow along. You sign up, it's monthly subscription, and every week you'll get new workouts. And it's based on my experience as a parent and what I've personally been doing, and all of the parents that I've worked with personal training, and seen all the problems. And time is a big restraint. So the idea is there's 3 workouts a week. You go in there, there's either a home dumbbell one or a gym workout, or if you have a pretty well equipped home gym, you can do it there. And the idea is 3 workouts a week, and that's all you need to do. And then around that, just kind of be as active as possible. And the idea is it gives you a structured plan to follow. It's going to be progressive. It's going to change from week to week to keep things interesting, but it's also going to be intense enough to get you results. So that's what I've kind of been following along with myself. But I wanted to get in some more running and some more cycling and try and build my endurance and sort of stamina. And the lethargic stuff was kind of holding me back. I'd always have the idea of, right, today I'm going to go home, I've got to walk the dog, but instead of walking the dog, I'm going to go for a run with him for an hour. And when it would come to it, I'd be like, I just cannot be asked to run, so I'd just take him out for a walk. Like, the worst thing I could think of would be running with him. But since I've increased all of that stuff in my diet, my energy just seems so much better. And today, me and Benny are going to go out for a run. So that is the plan for today. So back from my run, it was probably about half an hour run in total, and then walked half of what we ran again, so that the dog could get a little bit extra. Of course, he managed to find a dead squirrel on the run, and then kind of carried that halfway for half of the run with him, as you do. That's just a typical Springer Spaniel. So back home now, and so far today, all I've had is a bowl of cereal. Where is it? This one. So I'm a huge fan of the M&S triple chocolate crisp, which is like oat clusters and triple chocolate. And last time I went into Marks & Spencer's, I was really craving it, and they didn't have any, and I was gutted. So yesterday when I went to go and grab some dinner and I was in Waitrose, they had their own version in Waitrose. Now, it doesn't taste as good as the M&S one, but I've had a bowl of that this morning. That's all gone now. So that kind of settled that craving, and now that's out. So I probably won't have anything like that either for the next 4 weeks, but I was just so desperate for it because it's so damn good. But that one's not half as good as the M&S one, so it was a little bit disappointing. But I had a bowl of that this morning, so that's probably around about 400 calories with a semi-skim milk. Now back from the run, and I'm going to have my typical, I haven't had it for a while, but if you guys have been following me for a while, then you'll know my kind of smoothie, which is going to be frozen raspberries, frozen blueberries, scoop of whey protein, a plain flavour, so unflavoured, because when you get like the vanilla one or the chocolate one in this smoothie, I just don't think it tastes nice. I'd rather not taste it at all. So unflavoured protein powder, 1 scoop, handful of spinach, so there's the greens, as well as the nutrients from the berries, then a tablespoon of peanut butter and 250 grams of low-fat Greek yogurt. So this is really high protein. There's probably about 50 grams of protein in this shake that I do. It tastes amazing. It takes about 5 minutes to make, about 5 minutes, not even that, like 30 seconds to clear up, because all you got to do is, you know, clear out the NutriBullet pot afterwards. But it's super filling, pretty low in carbohydrates. All in all, it's quite a low calorie meal, but fills you up because of the high protein content. So the calories probably only about 250 calories in there. The one thing you have to watch is how much peanut butter you add in. You want to try and make sure it's just 1 tablespoon, because it's very easy to do like a massive heaped tablespoon, and then that's where the calories are going to rack up. So, but my one is normally around about 250 calories, so pretty low calorie. Kind of serves as a second breakfast / lunch. Then I'll probably eat something again before I go to work for the evening. But yeah, the run went okay. I kind of sometimes have this, like, I go for a run, feel a bit like, yeah, I could run for ages, I'm feeling good today. And then other times I really struggle. I think the main issue with like today's run is we drove there. I wanted to drive somewhere which was in the woods and kind of shaded, because it's quite warm out, and with the dog it's better if it's in a bit more shade. So we drove there, but I kind of got out of the car and started running straight away, whereas really I feel like I'm a little bit better if I warm up a little bit, you know, warm up my glutes. So I like to do some like hip abduction stuff, walk for a little while first and then run, but I pretty much got straight out of the car, straight into the run, which I find actually is definitely not the best thing to do. And when I do that, I just have a crapper run because I get tired quicker because I haven't warmed up at all. So the run was about 30 minutes. I've tracked it on my Garmin watch, but the watch was playing up a little bit, so I have to sync it and see like what the times and stuff were. I'm not particularly that bothered about that. I'm more, when I go for a run, I kind of measure it off. So next time I go for a run, I'll do the same route, and then I'll just see whether I felt like I found it easier, whether there was times where I felt like I needed to stop, slow down, and then the next time I do it, if I don't need to do that, and then gradually increase that route. And that's kind of how I measure when I'm getting better at running. But I want to try and cycle, run or swim, you know, once or twice a week on the days when I'm not necessarily doing weight training. So today I'm not doing any strength training. I'll do some again tomorrow. So I thought I'd go for a run. So that's that with the run. Smoothie time. There's B Diz. Had to wash the little bugger after his walk because of playing with dead squirrels. It's not good. So smoothie done. And then I've got half an hour. I'm having a video conference call with a software company, again to do with the online coaching. So I'm with the programs, the Dad Bod and Mum Strong programs, I've got some software that they're up and running on at the moment, which I'm quite happy with. But I want to test out or have a conversation with these people about this other software, because I think it potentially could be even better, maybe, for the delivery of the program. So it's not going to affect the structure of the programs. The structure of the programs are what they are. And I'm quite happy with the software that I'm using at the moment, but I came across this other software which potentially could be better delivery of the program. So we'll see. I'm going to have a conversation with them for half an hour and see what their software is all about, and see if that is going to be better to run the Mum Strong and Dad Bod programs in the long run. But that being said, like I said, you can still sign up to those. So the software that I'm using at the moment I'm very happy with, and the programs are what they are. So you can still sign up to that at the moment. It was like very, like the sets and reps and circuits and all that was very fixed. What I quite like about True Coach was you could write down a description of how you wanted the workout, and I know that with you guys you do that as well.
We do.
Yeah, and that's important because so I'm back home from work and just cooking up some dinner. Katie's putting the kids to bed. I'm making dinner for myself because she's been out all day. They've had dinner elsewhere. So stopped at the shop, picked up a packet of mincemeat. So I'm going to have half a pack of mincemeat with onions and then some sauce stuff, which I'll show you in a minute, and then half a plate of vegetables, and then that takes me up to about 1800 calories for the day. And then I'm going to have a cup of tea and some dark chocolate because I've got enough calories left for that, and then that's today's food done. So pretty basic, pretty simple, and then we're going to sit down and spend the rest of the evening probably watching some crappy TV like Love Island. So dinner is served. This is what we got. Got 250 grams of mincemeat with some onions and crushed chilies in there, half a plate of vegetables, and then this sauce on top. Chipotle made for meat sauce. Just a bit on top. Now there's you need to remember that with these sauces they still contain calories, and you can't just freeload them all over your meal. So 100 ml is 293 calories, and there's 235 ml in here. Now I'm going to put down in MyFitnessPal that I had maybe 30 ml of that because they're the little things that will add up if you don't add them into your meals. So I'm going to sit down, eat this, then watch TV. Look at that. That is a reality table. Baby changing unit at the top, kids' toys all over it, kids' colouring paper, and then a tiny little space where you try and find to put your meal on. That is certainly not an Instagrammable table. That is real life and reality. So that's a wrap for today's vlog, guys. Finishing the day, going to be finishing it off on around about 2,300 calories because I'm just about to have a cup of tea and some dark chocolate. That Chipotle sauce on the mincemeat, oh my god, amazing. But like I said, be careful because it's still very calorific. So I worked out I had about 88 calories in the 30 ml that you saw on top. I'm not sure if it was exactly 30 ml, it might have been more, might have been less, but still 88 calories. And if you have that on top of like every meal of the day, that's something you're probably not accounting for, that's going to be quite calorific. So that's it for today. I'm going to go. Tomorrow's one I'm probably going to show you kind of where my body's at. So hopefully over the next month we can keep an eye on my diet, the tracking, the lead up to holiday, and you can see some changes in my body through what I have been doing. So I will see you guys in the next one.